He buried his dog. A voice hissed, "The earth is federal with a crown, be emperor or be next." He buried his dog beneath the old oak tree at the edge of his property, the one that leaned just a little too close to the house when the wind blew hard. The soil there was black and heavy, full of earthworms that writhed like veins in the ground. The shovel bit deep. The world was silent, except for the sound of his breath and the thud of dirt hitting the wooden box. Caleb didn't pray. His voice had gone hoarse days ago from crying. The old hound had been his only companion through the war and the years after. He'd promised to bury him with his own hands, and he had kept that promise. But when the last clump of dirt fell, the ground pulsed, just once, as if something deep below had taken a breath. He froze. The air grew colder. His shovel slipped from his grip and landed with a dull clang. Then came the sound, like a sigh under the soil, a whisper rising from the earth itself. "The earth is fed." Caleb staggered back. The voice was soft, feminine, like wind curling around the edges of his mind. He swallowed hard. "Who's there?" No answer. Only the rustling of dead leaves and the faint hum of something ancient stirring below. He turned to run, but the ground beneath the oak split open like a mouth, revealing roots that glowed faintly red from within. The soil slid down into the glowing pit, and something metallic shimmered underneath the roots. Caleb's heart slammed against his ribs. Buried metal. A shape, like a crown. He didn't want to go closer, but his body did, moved by something that wasn't quite him. The roots shifted aside as if offering the object to him. He reached down with trembling fingers and pulled it free. It wasn't gold or silver. It was darker, iron twisted with strange symbols, alive with a dim pulse like the beat of a buried heart. "Wear the crown," the voice hissed again. "Be emperor or be next." Caleb dropped it instantly. What the hell is this? The crown rolled once in the dirt and came to rest beside his dog's grave. For a moment, he thought he saw movement, something pushing up from the coffin below. He stumbled backward, breathing hard. No, 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 no. The ground erupted. Roots lashed upward, coiling around the grave, tearing the soil open as a shape emerged. But it wasn't his dog anymore. The creature had the same body, same fur, but its eyes glowed a dull red, and its mouth moved without sound. It stared at him with an intelligence that wasn't canine. "The earth remembers who feeds it." The voice whispered from everywhere at once. Caleb's hand shook. I didn't feed, I buried him." The creature, his dog, or what wore his dog's shape, tilted its head. Then it spoke, its mouth not quite matching the words. "The crown awaits." Caleb stumbled back toward the house, heart pounding, but the world around him was already changing. The trees bent toward the grave, their branches dripping black sap. The clouds rolled in fast, unnatural, churning in spirals above the oak. He slammed the door shut, locked it, and pressed it back to the wall. Thunder rumbled, then knocking. 3 slow knocks on his front door. He stared at it, frozen. Another voice this time, a man's, deep and calm. "You took what wasn't yours." Caleb swallowed. "I didn't take anything. I just buried my dog." "You disturbed the root," the voice said, "and now the root remembers." Something heavy dragged across the porch. When he peeked through the window, his heart seized. The crown was there, lying on the steps, gleaming faintly under the lightning. And standing beside it was a figure made of soil and bark, roughly human-shaped, with roots for veins and a face carved from stone. "Put it on," it said. "The ground chose you." Caleb shook his head violently. "No, I'm not. Whatever this is, I'm not part of it." The figure tilted its head, and a dozen other shapes began to rise from the soil around the yard. Tall, crooked silhouettes of earth and bone, all wearing the faint impression of faces screaming beneath bark. "The crown must have a bearer," said the voice, "or the land will claim one." The walls groaned. Roots pressed through the floorboards. One slithered around Caleb's ankle, cold and alive. He grabbed the fireplace poker and struck at it, severing the root. Black sap splattered the floor. The whisperer turned to a growl. "Then be next." The lights went out. The ground heaved, and suddenly he was falling. Through wood, through dirt, through darkness. The earth swallowed him whole. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in a vast cavern beneath his home. Bioluminescent roots coiled along the ceiling like veins of a living creature. And in the center, rising like a throne carved from the planet's bones, was an enormous skeletal tree. At its base sat the crown. Only this time, it floated. Caleb could see faces trapped in the roots. Hundreds of them, men, women, creatures not of this world. Their eyes followed him as he stepped closer. "Be emperor," the voice whispered again. He felt something inside him tear, the part of him that had lost everything, that had buried his best friend, that no longer cared if he lived or died. "What happens if I don't?" he whispered. "Then you feed the earth." He looked up at the glowing tree, at the bodies half buried in the roots, and realized what that meant. They weren't statues. They were the ones who refused. He reached out and took the crown. It was cold, then searing. It burned through his skin, fusing with his blood. His body arched, his breath catching as veins of light spread across his arms. The ground shuddered. The tree bowed. The whisper became 1,000 voices in unison. "The crown has a bearer. The land obeys." Caleb screamed as his mind expanded outward, past his house, past a forest, past a mountain. He could feel everything. The worms in the soil, the roots drinking the bones of the dead, the pulse of the planet itself. He wasn't just human anymore. He was something old, something vast. When he opened his eyes, the cavern was gone. He stood in the field again, the storm gone silent, the earth still. His dog, no longer twisted, sat at his feet, wagging its tail. Its eyes were normal again. He knelt beside it, tears cutting tracks down his dirt-covered face. "Buddy," the dog barked softly. But when Caleb looked at his reflection in the rain puddle, he saw the crown still fused to his head. Its roots burrowed beneath his skin. He understood now. The land had chosen him, not to rule, but to endure. Above him, the oak tree swayed gently in the wind. Its leaves whispered words he could barely hear. Feed the earth. Rule the silence. Remember the ones beneath. He stared at his dog, then at the field stretching endlessly around him. The storm clouds rolled again, heavier this time, like a heartbeat in the sky. The earth was hungry, and he was its emperor.